Hello, welcome back to the Games Kingdom. My name's Carl King and today we're going to have a bit of an unboxing, but we're going to start slightly different than we normally do. So if you remember years ago, there was a PC game called Rome Total War. Now this is one of the first games on a PC that got me into actual computer gaming, for want of a better phrase. I do play on PlayStation, but haven't played on a PC for some years now. But this was the first game that I ever had, and then upgraded to this gold edition of Rome Total War with the Barbarian Invasion expansion. So just like today's board games, they brought this out and they added on the expansion for it. Now also, if you remember, they also used the software behind this and the idea for a TV program called Time Commanders. Now Time Commanders was where members of the public went up as a team with presenters like Richard Hammond, Greg Wallace from MasterChef did a reboot some years ago, and it's a shame that it stopped because it was a very good program, one of the few programs for people who play games either tabletop or computers on the TV that there's probably ever been. So, and it was very good. It was on for about half an hour, sometimes for an hour, and as I say, they did a reboot a few years ago, but sadly they only made about half a dozen in the reboot and then stopped again. So why are we looking at this? Well, as I said, Rome Total War was the first PC game that I ever played, and you obviously got a rule book which told you how to play the game. You got the disc which you obviously fed into your PC. Took up a lot of memory, especially for PCs back then. They're not like they are today, where you know you've got much more memory and better graphics cards and everything that you can play on. So if I had a PC currently, I'd probably try this again, but my laptop sadly doesn't take discs. So why are we looking at this? Well, this is a precursor to this Rome Total War, the board game. So this has kindly been sent to me by the publishers, and they have allowed me to have a sort of pre-sale, pre-backer copy, if you like, to do a bit of an unboxing and then go away, play a few games. And they have suggested that I'll probably need to play this solo at least 3 times to get the nuances of the game, get that how it feels sort of thing. But as I say, I've just barely glanced at the rules. I've had this a few days, just getting around to doing this unboxing. So what have we got? Well, as I say, this is a pre-production stroke pre-delivery copy, because as you can see on the back of this box it says gameplay image to come here. So this isn't the final box that backers and or retail purchases, if it does go to retail, which I hope it does, this isn't obviously what you're going to get. It's pretty much finished, but obviously there's going to be some more blurb here, potentially maybe another image of something, but as you can see it's 95% there with the box itself. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you what's inside the box. And as far as I know, this is just the basic sort of retail copy, so this isn't including any Kickstarter, stretch goals, exclusives, that sort of thing. This is just what I would assume you would buy if you got a copy in your gaming sort of store locally, or purchased from one, or at a convention or something. This is what you're going to get from that. So we get that nice opening sound of taking off the lid. So what have we got? We'll have a look at the rule book shortly. So we'll move these to one side. It's a nice big map, and as you can see it is quite a size. Now this table is 4 foot square, so you're probably looking at something here sort of 3 by 2, maybe 2 by 2, But yeah, quite a nice detailed map. Very sort of riskish sort of layout type area sections. As I say, not read pretty much any of the rules of this yet, so not really too sure how you play, how it's going to pan out, but there are solo rules in here, so we'll be giving this several playthroughs, as I said. So we've also got, as it's retail copy, you get the cardboard coins, so you punch those out, so you'll get 2 lots of those. You also get some player boards, so as you can see, I've not opened any of these, so I will be seeing these for the first time like yourselves. So we have Rome, we have Carthage, we have Greece, and we have the barbarians. So these are going to be your boards. So flimsy-ish card, but still more than adequate for you to use on your tabletop. I assume you could always laminate these to keep them clean, make them a bit more solid, and or sort of stick them to another piece of card if you wish to, and then leave them like that and or laminate it after that. We've got some nice sort of gems here in a bag, sort of nicely coloured. We've got a bag of dice, so obviously these are game specific, so you don't get any sort of standard d6s with this, so you'll be rolling, I assume, depending on what you're doing in the game, you'll be rolling a set number of a specific colour. So these may well be faction specific and then maybe one other, so there's sort of 5 different sets of 4 there, as you can see, and pretty much the red, yellow, white and green are all the same, and the black, yep, they look all very similar, although the black ones don't have the skulls on. So as I say, we'll have to sort of read through the rules and see what we've got there. We've got some sort of wooden round markers there. We've got some ones here that maybe donate buildings, they're sort of house shaped, and then we've got these which I believe form walls around some of these designated areas on the board. And then we've got these sort of pyramid type wooden markers as well. And then we come on to some of the miniatures. So they are a nice sort of chunky plastic, and we've got some in each of the 4 colours, and they are obviously different, so they're not just the same figure repeated but in different colours. You've got different ones for the different factions, and each of them have 5 of their particular, so obviously that's Rome, the barbarians, Greece and Carthage. So yeah, and then each player also gets a couple of ships, and you also get some smaller miniatures here, which looks like some sort of diplomat or ambassador maybe. They're holding sort of scrolls of paper, so maybe somebody from like the Senate or something like that. We've got another bag of square wooden tiles there, and then we have an absolute ton of cards. So we have different numbered cards here from 1 to 12 with just arrows on them. So again, I'm going to have to need a good look through the rules to see what these are. But what we'll do whilst we're on here, we'll try and open these packs. They're always a bit fiddly to do on camera, I find. So we have some cards here that are obviously to do with your ships, going by what's on the back of the card, and then they look to be all the same. So again, one of those where I'm going to have a read through and see what they actually do in the game itself. So these are your action cards, and again these all depict, actually these depict different things in the game. So you've got things like prepare your battlefield, inspired general, forced march, plague, expert evasion, et tu brute. So you've got a lot of thematic cards there, and then I think we're starting to come on to some of the, maybe some of the army specific cards. Again, let's try and get into one of these. So you've got things like your Balearic slingers, Hispanic cavalry, Scythian archers, Sarmatian lancers, Thracians, Dacians. So these, I would assume, are going to be your barbarians, I would think. Then we've got another pack here. This one we're going to have to slice open. The little opening strand seemed to break. So these are your Greeks, because it starts off with your hoplites, veteran hoplites, phalangites, Illyrian infantry, Rhodian slingers, Thessalian cavalry, ballistas, onagers, and then you've got your generals right up to Alexander the Great. So that's them. Another pack here. These are going to be your Romans, because they start off with your Republican legionnaires. So as you can see, all of these cards are different, and they've got different sort of cube spaces, and you've got different cards for all of your different units. Scorpios, you've got your mediocre and competent generals, right up to Julius Caesar and Marcus Crassus. So if you've seen show Spartacus, I think Crassus was in that. So here's the next one. These are more Romans. These are your Imperial Romans. So you've got legionnaires, you've got veterans, you've got legendary cavalry, Imperial auxiliaries, Imperial Pretonians, and then onagers, ballista, and then, as I say, you've got more of your Praetorian cavalry there. So you get a lot of cards. So you've got your Libyan spearmen in this one, citizen spearmen, Balearic slingers, citizen cavalry, Hispanic cavalry, more ballistas, and then you've got your Hannibal card. So there's your Carthage. And then the last pack of cards we've got, before we move on to having a look at the rule book itself, is Lowland Warriors. So it looks like there's more potentially sort of barbarians, naked Gastes, pony riders, noble cavalry, chariots, generals, and then your leader cards. So as you can see, there's quite a pile of different sort of factions and things that you can employ in the game. So I'm not sure how you play the solo game yet, whether you pick one set to be the sort of opponent for you, and you pick out one of the others that would fight against each other. Don't think you always have to be or have Romans in it, but we'll find out as we read through the book. Now the book is quite chunky, as you can see. It's got 60 pages of A4, so we'll show you what this looks like. So again, you get your contents, you get the game concept, you get what's in the box. So what I've shown you there, you've got your different sort of cards, your coins, your tokens, and then you've got your design philosophy, the 4 major factions which I spoke about earlier, and then you've got your key components, map, dice, cards and faction boards, and then you've got your troop cards. It shows you the dice symbols and it explains what those dice symbols will mean when you roll them. Your generals, your ship cards, the action cards, so it shows you all the agent action symbols, so it will give you an explanation of how those cards work and what the wording on them means, and then obviously you will sort of work through those. I assume you're going to get a hand of cards dealt to you. It explains how your faction boards work. It tells you how to set up the board depending on how many players are playing. Then you've got your initiative phase, the agent phase, your taxation phase. Always come back to taxes. And then you've got all of your explanations here about your regions on the board. Working through again shows you some more things to do with your dice and your cards, how to use the components. There's lots of examples here, as you can see in these sort of boxes, these coloured boxes. There's lots of examples in the book by the look of it, so it will not only tell you how to play the game, it will give you an example at various points on how that explanation actually works out. And then you've got your example large battles. Then you've got bits about your barbarian army, you've got the Roman army, and then you've got, by the looks of it, some maybe some scenarios in here as well. So as you work through the book, again, more descriptions, more examples, more pictures. So you know, they've thought about it. Looks like a well laid out set of rules, hopefully easy to follow. So then you've got your spending phase, which is obviously why you get all that money in the game, and then again it gives you examples of how to do that, and also it gives you the end of game details. So then you've got your strategic choices, what's coming next. So at the end of the book it says what is coming next. So have fun playing the game and the vast array of variety it already contains. Look for the Battle Play extension pack to bring a whole new tactical dimension to the game, and watch out for our core faction boosters, which will allow players to control smaller nations such as Dacia, Numidia, Spain, Gaul or Thracia. Keep an eye out for expansion sets that cover different areas and geographies of total warfare such as Alexander, Barbarians and Britannia. So obviously they have got other stuff coming after this. Now some of that may well have been in with some of the stretch goals, I'm not sure. So if you're a backer of this game and you recognise any of that, then potentially that's maybe have been in the crowdfunding campaign. But if you are like this one, just with the maybe the retail copy, there are going to be other things that you can add on to this to expand your game experience once you've played this a few times. I always think it's nice to, with things like this, get used to playing the base game before you dive too heavily into too many of the expansions. There's a lot of games out there today where there are expansion upon expansion, so you've got things like Terraforming Mars, Everdell, all those sorts of games where, you know, you've got 4, 5, 6 or more expansions that you can add in, and when you do that, and they're all, a lot of them are all playable at the same time. I'm not saying that this is going to be, there might just be army specific, but there's a lot of games out there where you can play all of the expansions at once, but obviously that takes up a lot of table space and a lot of time. So I always think with games like this, it's better to not master the basic game, but have a good grasp of that before you start adding in variables like expansion sets and other armies and things like that, because sometimes you can then start adding in more players, and obviously that's going to take up, as I say, a lot more room and a lot more time. Something similar to this that I've had for a while now and I've done a video on, if you want to check it out, is Mosaic. And again, that base game is fantastic. It's sort of up to 6 players. We've only played it up to 4, but you know, that already takes sort of 2.5 to 3 hours to play. With 6 it possibly would take longer. It may work out that it's slightly shorter because your cards are running through quicker. So I don't know how this is going to compare with that, but looks very similar, as I say, to a cross between Mosaic and maybe Risk, just by the initial looking at the board and having that quick flick through the rule set. But once I get into it, as I say, I'm going to play 2 or 3 solo games and then come back with an update. Also going to be doing a written review for this, for a magazine that I do written reviews for, based on the plays, but obviously that won't be out for a while. But if you like the look of this, I'm not sure if you can still late pledge, but you can check it out. So you've got obviously your Rome Total War. You can check that out on sort of the Game Fan pages, and you've got that excellent sort of feel and the sort of bringing back of, as I say, the old PC game that I showed you earlier. So if you like the look of this, as I say, go and check it out. If you're a backer, hopefully this has given you a little insight into what at least the base game is going to look like as a physical product. And for me, the components are very nice. The dice are excellent. These guys, whilst only having 5 of those, you probably don't need more of these. There's probably just sort of to put into regions and things. But you've got potentially other things in the game that you can do. So there's obviously enough of these guys here with only having 5 of them. But yeah, on first glance, the components are more than adequate for a base game of this ilk. And yeah, I'm going to enjoy having a look at this. So as I said, for me, just opening up and looking at the contents, we're going to give this the Games Kingdom Royal Seal of Approval. And that, as I say, is just based on opening the box, showing you the contents. The cards, very nice, good stock, you know, nice set of cards there. They're not flimsy at all. You could obviously sleeve them if you want to. There's a lot of cards there, so I'll see how that goes once I've sort of started playing through it. But you know, things like these gems and these other sort of components, you know, whilst basic nice wooden components, they are nice and chunky, of good quality, you know, solid. And as I say, the dice, very nice. They're not your usual sort of little tiny dice. They're very nice. So yeah, that's a quick unboxing of Rome Total War, the board game. If you've liked this video and you want to check out some of my other content, then please feel free to check out my other content at this address here, youtube.com/thegameskingdom811. So please click on the like for this video, and it would be great if you would subscribe to the channel, and that will give you notifications when I do more of these, including coming back and doing this as a follow-up video once I've played a few games, and there's other videos on there for unboxings, playthroughs and sort of general gaming chat. So as I say, I've also got a little competition running at the minute where once I get to, as I'm still trying to build up my sort of regular followers via subscribers and things, once I hit 250 I'm going to draw somebody out at random and send them a little game, and then when I get to 500 I'm going to do the same, but that game is going to be slightly bigger than the 250 one. So the quicker you get in, click that like and subscribe, and then you don't have to do anything else. Once it hits 250 and 500 I'll pick out a name, I'll contact that person and they will get a nice little gift in the post. So that's me, that's the Games Kingdom, and if you like this, as I say, head over to the channel, have a look, and until we do another one of these, it's bye for now.